Hello, and welcome back to Tea Tuesday. Let's get into it. So, I know it's been a hot minute. I'm not going to explain. There's no need to. But I do have stuff I want to talk about. Things that have been happening in Korea that I think we should talk about. Okay. So recently, within like the past week, the Seoul City Government gave some advice to pregnant women. And to say that the advice was patriarchal and archaic is an understatement. So for those who don't know, I'm going to link a couple articles and a Twitter feed down below. But the Seoul City Government, through the Pregnancy Childbirth Information Center, with the help of the Korean Society of Obstetrics and Gynecology, they put out this advice thing for pregnant women. This is advice information, I guess. It was on their website. It is no longer there, but they put it out, and oh Lord, oh man, it has some nuggets. So I'm going to share with you some of the highlights, and then I'm going to give my opinion at the end. But I have notes. So I'm going to read you what this advice for pregnant women says and why it came under fire. Okay. So in the early stages of pregnancy, okay, you should avoid putting off housework because it will help you keep weight off. So essentially they're saying that you should do housework because it'll help you keep your weight down when you're pregnant. Ah, Lord. And this is a direct quote. So you should hang clothes you wore before you were pregnant in a place where they are easy to see. Okay? As that will motivate you to keep your weight under control and go back to the same weight you were before giving birth. Okay, moving on. If you are tempted to overeat or skip exercises, look at the clothes. Next, as your due date is arriving, you should clean the fridge of any old food. Make sure it's nice and clean for your husband. Prepare 3 or 4 meals that your husband can cook in a microwave, reheat. Because husbands are unaccustomed to cooking. You should have enough laundry clean for about 3 days so your husband and children don't run out of underwear and shirts. And you should be sure to buy a hairband so you don't look disheveled after giving birth. Great advice, Seoul Government. Great advice. Pregnancy and Childbirth Information Center. Wonderful advice, Korean Society of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Amazing. The best. perfect advice. No wonder women don't want to have babies. Y'all treating them like housekeepers, not a person. Like, you need to cook for your husband 3 or 4 meals so he can reheat it because he's unaccustomed cooking. Nah, bitch, you're a grown-ass adult. Cook for your goddamn self. Like, what the fuck? And this idea that she needs to not put on weight. I'm sorry, that's what happens when you get pregnant. Like, it's a natural production. Like, it's natural for your body to gain weight. You have a human growing inside of you. Okay? I mean, some women are lucky and they don't gain as much weight as others. But this idea that if you're tempted to overeat and skip exercise, one goes back to this idea of beauty, and you can't be fat here. Okay. Even when I was at my skinniest, I was still considered fat. And so this idea that you can't be fat here, it's a bad thing. And that's what this is showing, right? Women are to be looked at and to be beautiful. And that's really their only role. Well, along with maid. Because, you know, you have to make sure that the fridge is clean and there's enough food for your husband to eat, because Lord help us if he cooks. And you have to do the laundry to make sure that he has enough underwear. God forbid he have to do laundry. Like, who in their right goddamn mind thought that this was a good idea? Who? Oh, I know. Men. I actually did some research into the Korean Society of Obstetrics and Gynecology. And it's predominantly men. The chairman of this society is a man. And the fact that it came from an organization that was created in 2019, the Pregnancy and Childbirth Information Center, right? This center is supposed to promote childbirth and increase the childbirth rates here in Korea, because there is a decrease. But the fact that this group of people and this organization thought that it was smart to give advice that you need to cook and clean and make sure to watch your weight while pregnant, and solid pregnancy advice. That's what that's what this was. This was pregnancy advice. Yeah, no, that's going to be a no from me. Sorry, not no. Who? Men. That's who. Because that's who runs Korean society. Men. Right? And no wonder people don't want to give birth. Especially women. Like, you see so many studies showing that women would rather stay single and not get married and not have children. And this is part of the reason. There's obviously other reasons for the low childbirth rate, okay? I'm not saying that this is the only reason, but this is a damn good reason, right? You treat women like they're there to just look pretty, give you babies, and clean. That's all that they are, right? And that's what this information was putting out, is that women are only good for a few things, and that they aren't their own human, and that their husband shouldn't have to step up to the plate for domestic roles. Korea is a modern society, but sometimes she ain't. Anyway, this advice stirred a lot of controversy online, and they actually ended up taking it down, I think like a day or two later after they posted it. But people are pissed, and rightly so. Like, you should be pissed about this. This is bullshit. What kind of advice is it that you should watch your weight and not overeat, and that you should make sure the house is clean and make sure that laundry is done for your husband? I just, whatever. Anyway, next week I'm going to talk about rent and your rights as a renter. So stay tuned for that. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.